Welcome to the deep dive. Wow, what a day in the markets. June 30th, 2025. We just saw both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq closing at fresh all-time highs. Truly remarkable stuff. Especially when you think about how volatile the first half of this year has been. So our mission here is to dig into the key market analyses, the corporate news, the economic reports you've shared with us. We're going to pull out the really important bits, try to give you some clear insights, maybe a few surprising facts, just so you can get a quick handle on what exactly pushed the markets up today.
Yeah, it really stands out, doesn't it? Because this surge comes right after everyone's calling one of the most volatile first halves of a year we've seen in a while. So seeing this kind of strength now heading into the second half, well, it says something.
It really does, yeah. This kind of broad rally, it signals a pretty significant shift, I think.
Yeah.
A renewal in investor confidence in the economic outlook. And what's fascinating, as you said, it's not just one single thing. It feels like it's mainly driven by a mix of policy expectations.
Mm-hmm. And some important moves on the trade front. Really shows how these big picture and, well, company-specific things are linked.
Right. So let's unpack that. To really get today's surge, where should we start? What was the kind of immediate push?
Well, trade talks. They've been this constant background noise, maybe even worry for investors all year. What happened today wasn't necessarily some big final deal signed on the dotted line,
Right.
but more like clear signs of progress in the ongoing discussions. And that's key. It just highlights how markets try to look ahead. They often price in the chance of good news way before it's actually confirmed.
Ah, okay.
So this feeling, this sort of shift in thinking towards, hey, maybe this gets resolved positively, that can really boost sentiment and, well, push us to these record highs. It's like a bet on things calming down.
Okay, that makes sense. So that trade optimism provides the kind of macro backdrop. But then there was this one huge corporate story that really seemed to grab everyone's attention today. Looking through the reports, Oracle Corporation just jumps out. ORCL stock hit an all-time high.
Yeah.
Yeah, and get this, the really stunning part. Oracle apparently landed a massive cloud services deal expected to generate over $30 billion.
$30 billion? Wow.
Yeah, $30 billion in annual revenue starting in their fiscal year 2028. And just to give you some scale here, that single deal's annual revenue, it's nearly 3 times Oracle's total revenue for fiscal 2025.
3 times. Goodness.
Right. Even the CEO, Safrakat, said something like the company's off to a great start for fiscal 2026 because of multiple big cloud deals.
That is just, the scale of that is incredible. And it tells you so much about what's happening. Oracle shares, they were already up, over 33% this year, clearly riding that wave of cloud growth. And crucially, this massive demand for AI infrastructure.
Right. That term keeps popping up.
Exactly. The computing power, the specialized stuff needed for advanced AI. And Oracle just had its best week since 2001. After earnings, they've been announcing AI deals left and right. And this $30 billion deal, even though they haven't said who the client is,
Yeah.
that number strongly suggests it's got to be another huge tech company or maybe even a government. It just screams massive demand for cloud infrastructure in this AI age we're entering. It almost feels like a symbol of this huge investment shift.
Definitely feels symbolic. Okay, so we have trade optimism, we have this massive Oracle deal, but you also mentioned domestic factors. Let's shift gears a bit. What's happening on the Hill with President Trump's tax bill? How's that playing into things?
Right. Well, investors are definitely keeping a very close watch there. There's anticipation building around the Senate debate on the updated version of his big tax and spending bill.
Okay.
And this isn't just, about whether taxes go down a bit. It's about the market potentially pricing in a real shift in how businesses operate. The legislation could really impact corporate tax rates, broader economic policy.
So it's the anticipation driving sentiment.
Exactly. It reflects this wider market hope, maybe expectation, of more pro-business policies, maybe some economic stimulus down the line.
Yeah.
It's a bet on future profits facing fewer hurdles, essentially.
Okay, interesting. And then speaking of things calming down, there was another little piece, maybe unexpected, related to Canada, something that also helped the mood.
Yeah, that was interesting. It's a good example of how these maybe seemingly smaller things can add up. Canada decided to back away from its planned digital services tax on U.S. tech firms.
Ah, right. I saw that.
So that removes a potential point of friction, a trade issue between two really big partners. Just sort of added to the overall positive vibe around trade, around international business.
I see.
So when you put it all together, you've got the potential for domestic policy changes like the tax bill, plus this easing of international trade tensions. It just creates a much more favorable backdrop for stocks, doesn't it?
Oh.
Boosts confidence in growth and profits.
Yeah.
So yeah, bringing it all together for you. You've got this convergence, right? Progress or perceived progress on trade. You've got these favorable policy expectations domestically. And then you layer on really strong corporate performance in key areas like cloud with that Oracle example. It all suggests this upward momentum we're seeing. Well, it could have legs as we head into the second half of the year.
Right. So looking ahead, what should we be watching for specifically? Sounds like concrete news on those trade talks and seeing what actually happens with that tax legislation in Congress. Those feel like the next big signposts.
Absolutely. Those are the immediate hurdles or catalysts, depending on how they turn out. And maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to sort of mull over.
Yeah.
As we move into the back half of 2025, these big themes, technological innovation, especially AI and cloud, the level of policy support, and how these international trade relationships evolve, they really look set to remain the core drivers. So maybe think about how these forces aren't just shaping the stock market day to day, but how they might be reshaping your own understanding of the wider economy. It's all connected.